Hey folks, welcome to another review with yours truly, Sam Healey. Today we're going to be taking a look at Cascadia Landmarks. This is an expansion for Cascadia from Flatout Games and AEG, and this is one of the things that I really enjoy about the board game hobby, that you can expand games that you really enjoy with expansions that really do well at expanding them. So let's get down to the table and take a look. Now, it's important to note here that we're not going to take time to actually explain how the game of Cascadia plays. I'm going to assume that since you're coming here for this expansion, you kind of already know how Cascadia works. So do take that into account as we go through the different elements of Cascadia Landmarks. This is basically everything that comes in the expansion box for Landmarks. You're going to get 5 new starting tiles. Then you're also going to get 45 new landscape tiles, including 15 more keystone tiles. That's going to become important in just a few moments. You're also going to get 35 more animal tokens, 7 of each type. You're also going to get 15 more nature tiles for those bonuses of using the different abilities and extra points at the end of the game. You're also going to get 3 new scoring cards for each of the different animal types: Roosevelt elks, red-tailed hawks, Chinook salmon, grizzly bears, and red foxes. The base game comes with 4 of these, A, B, C, and D, and then you have E, F, and G on each of those, so that's pretty cool. But the namesake of the expansion, the namesake module, I guess you could say, the landmark tokens and the landmark scoring cards, which are basically right back here. You're also going to get a new score pad because it'll add in a line here for scoring those landmarks. Now, one of the cool things that I like that they included in this, they also included alternate rules for faster play, which is kind of cool because it basically gives each player 5 hexes and 5 animal tokens at the beginning of the game that they can use throughout the course of the game in between their regular turns. So you can basically take an extra action in between your regular actions by placing one pairing of these into your tableau before your next action comes up. And you can only do one special or extra action in between your other actions. Another difference is that you're going to start the game as usual with a regular starting tile, but you're going to add to it one of these extra keystone tiles. So you're going to start with an extra space at the beginning of the game, and that's an interesting variant as well. Now, the main difference that the game will bring, other than the other, extra ways to score your gameplay and all of that kind of stuff, that is significant. You have 3 new ways to score each of these different animals, but the main difference here is when you're going to be bringing in these new landmark cards, and these are going to be separate ways to score points at the end of the game, or they're going to add to other ways that you score each of the different landscape tiles. A couple of different things. For example, this elk on forest, this one will basically be, you'll score 1 point for each elk that's on a forest tile in your game. So this one will basically score for each forest corridor of a size 2 or greater. So you'll get 2 extra points if you have forest corridors that are 2 or more hexes. So there are a bunch of different ways to score tiles, and there's similar ways in all of these stacks. But the way this happens is that when you take a tile and animal token, if that tile is going to make that corridor size of 5 or more, then instead of placing your animal token that you took that turn, you can choose a matching landmark tile and place it on that tile that you placed that made it 5 or bigger. When you do that, you're going to choose one of the cards that is available from that landmark to add to your tableau. Now, when you place the landmark tile on the tile that you chose that turn, You can still place the animal token somewhere else in your tableau. You just can't place it on the one that you place the landmark token on. So that is going to, placing these landmark tokens onto tiles will lessen the choices that you have to place animal tokens in the future, but hopefully you'll be able to use the points that you're going to get from the landmark scoring cards to basically make up for that deficiency throughout the course of the game. But as you can see here, there are a number of different, it goes all the way out to, looks like IJKL, looks like there's A through L number of cards for each of these different landmark scoring abilities. So there's a great amount of diversity in these cards because you're only going to use a number of cards that are equal to the number of players. In a solo game, you'll actually use 2 from each kind. But that's about it for what Cascadia Landmarks brings to the table. Let's get back up top for my final thoughts. So that's about that for Cascadia Landmarks. Now, as far as my final thoughts are concerned, I'm just going to open up with every single time I play this game, whether it's with the expansion or without the expansion, it is a great time and people really enjoy it. Now, that could be indicative of the part of the country that we're in. We are actually up in the Pacific Northwest, and everybody that plays this game up here really connects to it. So it could just be a regional thing. However, I don't think it is, because Cascadia is a pretty popular game, and I think anybody everywhere is enjoying it. I really did enjoy this game, and this is one of the games where I will readily just throw the expansion into a base game, even if I'm teaching new people. Now, I might use one of the easier scoring cards if I'm teaching it to somebody new. But if I'm teaching it to somebody that is already a savvy gamer, they just haven't played Cascadia yet, I'll just randomly choose scoring cards, randomly choose everything, and just throw the expansion into it, because I think that the expansion does that much to improve the game experience. I just think that's the kind of expansion it is. So with some pros and cons. So first of all, the first pro that I'm doing is that I love the landmark tokens, and I love the landmark scoring cards. I love what they have done to the game because it enters into that little tension where I'm giving up something here to hopefully gain greater rewards later on by that scoring card that I've got. So I like that trade-off, so to speak. I love that that adds another decision-making aspect to the game. The game as it was absolutely fine, and I love the decision-making that you have in it. But that extra tension there where I'm giving up a spot that I can place an animal token in order to hopefully score as many or hopefully more points than I would have if I were able to put that animal token out there on that piece. I like that a lot. My second pro of the game is that I really enjoy the extra scoring capabilities that we now have. So you have A, B, C, D, E, F, and G. So now you have 7 different scoring cards for each of the animals, and I like what that does. Each of them are different in their own little way, and when they are used randomly or when you're used separately, you know, if you choose what letters you're going to be using, it provides a slightly different experience each and every time that you bring the game out, and I like that. Now, the base game came with 4, so you're only getting 3 more of each card, but the variety that brings to the game is really the pro that I'm mentioning here. I love the variety that the game had to begin with, and this just adds to that variety, and I think that's a great thing. Now, my next pro for the game is the fact that it does come with that variant for faster play. When you add players to the player count, you are going to prolong the game in some way, shape, or form. And I like the fact that the designers anticipated that truth, and they provided to alleviate the weight that adds to the game. I like that a lot. It doesn't seem like it is a very well, it isn't a very difficult change. You're simply dealing out 5 animal tokens and 5 terrain tiles to everybody at the start of the game. And then throughout the course of the game, they can choose in between their regular actions to place both of those tiles, that tile and token, before their next turn comes up. And I like the fact that it adds decision making while it's not your turn. So it actually alleviates 2 things. It cuts down on the amount of time the game takes, but it also cuts down on the amount of downtime that you have in between your turns. So I thought that was a really ingenious addition to the rule set. Now another thing, and this is kind of a pro, but I didn't really mention it in the other thing, but the last thing that I want to mention is these scenarios that come in the back of the book. I really like those. Little things that you can kind of just go for achievements and go for different things, and you can just it's a neat way to play the game that isn't just picking up and playing the game with a bunch of different people. It's a way for you to come back, play it solo, and try to work your way through all of these different scenarios and these different achievements and so forth. And I like that. It's a neat little addition to the game for the solo mode. So I really do like that a lot. As far as cons for the expansion are concerned, I don't have any. Be honest with you, I think that this expansion does exactly what expansions should do. It doesn't really add any complexity. It doesn't really add any weight to the game. It just gives you more stuff to enjoy what you already enjoy. And where it possibly could have some cons that crop up with, prolonging game time or making the downtime in between your turns greater because you're adding more players to the game, they've allotted some changes and some variants to answer those possible problems. So I think this expansion really is a great example of what expansions should do for really good games. They simply give you more to play with that you already enjoy, and they also give you possible variants to answer possible problems that adding another player to the game might crop up. So all in all, I'm going to give this one a huge 9 out of 10 for this expansion because I think it does so much good for the game, and I can't really find anything that's negative about it from my personal experiences. So that's a 9 out of 10 for me. On the flip side, it would be 2 huge thumbs way up, and I think you should go out and pick it up if you own Cascadia. This is a no-brainer of a purchase, I think. If you don't own Cascadia, I would go out and pick up both because I do think it does that much good for the game. So that's it from me. 9 out of 10, 2 thumbs up. Thanks for joining me here on the Dice Tower. We'll see you guys and gals on the flip side. Take care.